welcome to Our Time. Now, last time on Our Time, we chatted with Marjorie Fitzgerald and her daughter Catherine, and there was so much talk about all of the things Marjorie's done. We didn't even scratch the surface. We kept on chatting after the show, and we made another episode with their continuing story. So once again, say hello to daughter Catherine.
Hello, Malcolm.
And her mother, Marjorie.
Hello.
Marjorie, one thing that we didn't really cover in the last program, before we start talking about you, Catherine, was the fact that you were a mayor, and you were the first female mayor in South Australia.
There was a person that was the first councillor, and then when I went in, I was the second councillor, but the first alderman and then the first mayor of St Peters, and I gave 14 years to local government.
Yeah, first
Incredible.
female.
The reason I ask you that is because what we talked about in the last episode was just how much service you've given to the community. Yeah. And your daughter has followed in your footsteps in a different way, yes. But in many cases the same way as well.
Oh, I wouldn't say that at all. Sorry, Malcolm.
Oh, I don't know.
Mum's service has been in much more formal ways in terms of her service to the community.
Yeah, but you're not 94 yet.
Oh, I know, but she started a heck of a lot earlier than me on boards. And so, no, but I suppose what I do, my artwork is very much community-based.
Yes.
So from that point of view, we both have a strong commitment to community.
To community, that's
but just
what I mean.
in a different way.
Yeah, in different ways, sure.
Mm.
But obviously what your mum's given you is a real appreciation of how, if we all work together, we can all enjoy something.
Absolutely, and how important it is to give everybody a voice.
True.
I think that's one thing that really... There was a moment in my childhood when I looked at my mother as a dressmaker, but also as a creative person. And it was a really poignant moment in my life. And I remember a lot of my memories of Mum are bound up with the fabrics that passed through her hands, because she was always surrounded by fabrics. It was what her needle and thread gave us an education. You know, it's what paid bills. You know,
and
like it was practical and made our clothes and.
But even more so, and we didn't get time to cover this either. You've made all of your clothes for all these years, because fundamentally you saw yourself as a dressmaker.
Yeah.
And then what did you do with all the clothes?
They're in my wardrobe.
No. We had a fundraiser for the Fringe, Mum.
Yeah, well, that's just little things that happen on the side.
Oh, just little things.
Yeah.
Like this incredibly ornately... you're not wearing your underwear on the outside, I know. This is quite extraordinary. And this painting behind us here on the screen...
Oh, yes.
So,
please explain.
Well, when Mum turned 90, I wanted to celebrate her creativity through the lens of my own. So I started painting her iconic fabrics, the fabrics that I have really strong memories about. This is one of them, and Mum made this in the 70s, and I was a teenager at the time, and I remember her hour after hour at the dining room table beading by hand this lacework.
It's extraordinary.
After work, and the steel needle curved and bent in her hand from the hours that she spent. But what was astonishing to me was how rarely Mum spent that amount of time on her own garments, on her own creativity. And I recognised, it was that sort of turn of the moment when you recognise your parent as a creative person who's given up a lot of their personal creativity for you. And I hadn't got my glasses then, I couldn't see well enough to thread a needle. And I knew that her creativity, that skill, wouldn't be passed to the next generation. And so it was a real moment of nostalgia and recognition in my childhood that really marked a change in my relationship with my mum, and the beginning, I suppose, of our creative partnership over the years.
But you enjoyed the creation of the clothing that you made. You enjoyed the fact that your children were wearing it.
Oh, yeah.
You enjoyed very much the fact that when you had to represent, say, an arts foundation, that you could make a garment that you'd get a photo in the paper which would draw more people's attention to the very thing you were promoting.
I'm still doing it.
I know you are. And you're only 93.
Yes, I open the Fringe every year with a new outfit.
Yes.
That's right.
Just amazing. But you just touched on it there, but you realise there's a story in these fabrics.
That was the thing. When I was a child, I was home sick from school one day, and Mum handed me a scrap of fabric because she had a deadline and couldn't stop, and she would spin me a tale like Scheherazade.
Oh, really?
Of silk and silkworms being smuggled out of China, and or lace makers, or tatting in doorways, or ribbon lace from France, or she could spin a story like you wouldn't believe. And so I understood from a very early age that stories could be bound within the weft and the warp of a fabric. And so I started, as I said, painting Mum's stories, and then I would talk about it to somebody on the street, or as you do, and they would go, oh, I remember, oh, I have, and they would wrap themselves in the garment or the fabric, and I realised that this had the opportunity to be much more than just my mother's story, but a community story. And so I began gathering stories, and I asked, if your fabric could speak, what story would it tell?
That's a really interesting way of looking at things, because the memories of our parents or where we've been in life
especially migrants.
My wardrobe's full of clothes that I've bought in different places around the world, and that's the story for me. I get it. So in the Adelaide Fringe, tell me the Fringe story, because that's really interesting.
Well, I had been in the Fringe a couple of times before, but this was the first time that I was doing it on my own. And
what were you doing before?
So we had a bus full of art in 2016, and we took it on tour. We had 6 artists, and we refitted a bus, and we took it.
So
we went to Port Augusta, and bus gallery, and it was a great time. We went with 6 different artists from around Australia, just mates that we knew. A friend of mine, her sons had bought a bus to go boozing in. And she said, I always wanted to have an art show in a vehicle. And I said, sounds like a great Fringe show. And I rang up Heather and I said, hey, Heather, do you think this has got any legs? Do you think it would be interesting? Heather Kroll,
the CEO of the Fringe.
And she said, sure, do it. It was 10 days till the Fringe deadline. And so we just pulled it together at the last minute and did it. We had a friend who was whose husband drove a bus, and away we went.
Well, that's one of the great things about the Adelaide Fringe, because it's not just about performances.
No, absolutely. And then the next project I did for the Fringe was called Waterways, and I invited 6 artists. That was a much more serious subject about climate change, and was in a non-traditional space, but a gallery space nonetheless. But this project, this community project, I started gathering stories during SALA, the South Australian Living Artists Festival, and I wanted it to be, from the beginning, as inclusive a project as I could possibly make it. So I learnt to audio describe for the blind. I made sure...
well, now that's really such a special thing.
Yeah.
Because we're so used to now seeing somebody in a TV screen signing, or Auslan, but we're not, if you can't see, all of that's gone.
Yeah. So
is it difficult?
It's
challenging.
No, it's challenging, but it's a joyous thing.
Just as an example, I'm really putting you on the spot here.
Well, I mean,
but how would you describe this?
Now you are being difficult.
Yes.
So
everybody closes their eyes now; they can't see it.
Well, I'll describe the painting instead. So so the
Let me hold it.
We'll just pop we'll pop the painting back on the screen so that we know what we're talking about. Here we are.
So, if you were describing this, you might start out with, this is an image of 6 apricots on the stem, nestled into a froth of white Chantilly beaded lace. Against a dark background, they glow in light from the left in colours of green, gold, with a blush of red apricot. They're still on the stem, but the stem has no leaves, and it exits the right of the painting in shadow. I should have started out, of course, with the fact that this was a painting in its size, that it was done by Catherine Fitzgerald, and that it's in a landscape format and such like.
No, just to give people an idea, because as we see everything, we forget the words to explain it. Just as you're holding that up very carefully, it's actually a garment, isn't it?
Yes, it's a jacket, and
it's a jacket.
What you made.
Yes,
with your own 2 hands.
Yeah, and that became part of a feature piece in the exhibition, and the stories that I gathered, I would invite people into my home, and we would have a 2-hour session together, and they would share their story. I'd video their story. First time I was videoing, I would photograph their fabrics. First time I intended to use a photograph as a finished artistic result. So it was a lot of firsts for me. I applied for a grant from the Fringe, and I was able to get a mentorship with the wonderful Nat Rogers, who helped me take 30 hours of videoing to create a 30-minute film of digital storytelling.
And these things, sometimes we sort of don't realise how valuable these things are for right now, but it's also for the future. It's something that's going to be there.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, and actually that happened quite a lot. When people would give me their stories, a number of women in particular came to me and said, I'm the last of my creative line. And after me, I'm the custodian of these familial fabrics. And after me, they'll probably end up in an op shop and nobody will know their story.
And that's a real shame.
Now, I feel I have fulfilled my obligation to my fabrics and to the fabrics of my family, because now I've told the story, it's been shared, it's had a public voice. And so that I can relinquish my fabrics, you know. It was a big thing, actually. It was
fantastic.
a big thing.
Look, we've got to take a short break.
Yeah.
We're going to be back because there's so much more to tell of these two amazing women, and we've got some beautiful art pieces to show you. It's coming up after this short break. We've been talking with Catherine and Marjorie Fitzgerald. Just in that little break, we were just reminiscing about where this jacket, what do you call it? What?
Yes, this is
Probably
a
got a
jacket.
girly name
No,
that I
it's
don't
jacket.
know.
It's just a little jacket.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And you wore it in Melbourne. I mean, this is what you're talking about.
Yes, we
the
were trying
fabrics
to.
having the.
We were trying to remember really whether she wore it at a function for the at a conference. I think you were the only woman again.
Yeah.
For the metric conversion board, or whether it
The
was
metric you know,
or
just-
whether it was when you were on the National Energy Advisory
Oh, of
Committee.
course,
So
she
we're not
was on
quite
that.
sure.
You see, that's what's so amazing about you. Every
The
time
arts
we
was
talk,
later.
we find something else about something you've contributed to
It's-
or made happen.
Well, it does astound me when I look at my 2-page reference.
The
I know.
CV just goes
I
on
know.
and on and on. Yeah.
I don't believe
If you Google Marjorie Fitzgerald, you'll be amazed at what you see. But anyway, back to you.
I was invented before Google.
Oh, I'll pay that.
Yeah.
And that's beautiful, though.
Yeah.
Now, with what you've been doing, we've got some vision here of some of your artwork and also some of the, what do you call them, talks or?
Yeah, so this project then went from gathering these stories, then what do I do with them?
Yes.
So I had an exhibition. In that exhibition, I had my paintings, the photographs from the community stories, and the film that I created.
Okay, there's mum and daughter.
That's right.
And that's it.
Yeah.
And that's the garment.
The garment that we're talking about.
That's right.
But what's
the one I'm
important-
wearing is one I made too.
What was so exciting for us both is the fact that I took out the Fringe Award that year for visual art and design, and Mum was so excited she stood up and danced in the chair.
I said,
Well,
that's my cake, that's my cake.
We couldn't believe it.
That's
We
right.
couldn't
Yes,
believe
of
it.
course. Well, they've named an award after you, but we'll talk about that in a minute. If fabrics could speak,
Yeah.
is the exhibition
Yeah,
and
so
the talks.
that was the 24 exhibition.
Right.
So following that, I did about 37 talks to
And you were
community
a
groups
winner.
and such
You
like.
were an award winner of the
Yes,
Fringe.
yes,
in
we
24.
did. Yeah, we were, which was just astonishing. And then in the winter of that year, the film won the Sala Digital Media Awards, the Unit Care Sala Digital Media Awards. And so I thought then, well, this has got some more legs. And of course, Mum being the chair of Country Arts, still wanting
Just another one.
just wanting to honour Mum. She always believed that nobody should be disadvantaged from participating in the arts because of distance. So I thought I'd take it on tour. So I went to Clare, Port Pirie, Port Augusta, Whyalla and Kimber, and I took the film and I created my first performance-based show, and we invited people to share their stories again. And so we put on a morning tea just like Mum would have done, and we sat around a circle and we shared stories. And of course,
wonderful.
What the unseen presence in that space, of course, was the drought, sitting on a chair with us in that space. And the relief that women had in particular to talk about something other than the drought. It's finding a tribe, isn't it, really?
Yes. We all need to find a tribe.
And there was a woman, I'll never forget it, who sat there with her, sorry, but the stories, I went from having 30 stories at the end of 2004 to now having 300 stories through the tour and through a residency I did with the City of Charles Sturt. And I'm now the custodian of these stories. And at the drop of a hat, I'll tell you the stories.
Okay. Well, look, here's another piece of your art that is, you know, something again that's completely. What medium are you working in?
I work in oils, so this is predominantly in oils, but this is oils on polycotton. This is a lovely piece of fabric that Mum bought in the 70s. Now, my mother, you've got to imagine her, was mostly Chanel, right? Beautifully tailored suits, quiet colours, elegant as heck, right? But quiet. And then in the 70s, she comes home with this. And it's gypsy style, and it's flounce, and it's full, and it's off the shoulder, and she just wore it with such bravado. She didn't care about fashion. She didn't care about what she wore in the past or what somebody thought she should wear. She wore what she loved.
You had a renaissance.
That she loved. No, the fabric, she would wear any fabric that was really good fabric that she loved. And she still wears that now. It's just held up with a few more safety pins.
Well, not this, because this is another one of your art pieces.
So this is now of the finalist in the Advertiser Sala Awards this year.
Right.
And it's my response to the tour. So so now not just the exhibition has won an award and then the film won an award, but now my response to the tour and the landscape that I was going through there has also been recognised, and it's just an incredible project that keeps on giving. It keeps on giving to me in so many different ways. This is a work done alla prima in oils. It has the earth of the paddock embedded in the oils, and it was a dawn when the dust.
Oh, you've actually got some earth in there under the paint, for the texture.
Yeah, and
amazing.
As the sheet moved, the dawn light just hit the dust, and it just felt like everything was waiting for rain. The soil itself was waiting, the dust was
waiting.
Thank
goodness we've had it. We've had something.
Not quite enough, and not quite in the right time. But
but thank goodness things are changing. But how do you describe yourself?
Creative.
Okay, how would you describe your mum?
Creative. Actually, no. Mum.
A force of nature, I'd say.
You're true, but actually, Mum is enthusiastic about things. Right, apart from intelligent, but her enthusiasm is really quite boundless, and her curiosity about life is boundless too. And I think that's something that she's not a person that lives in the past about what she did last, in the years past.
Trying to get you to talk about yourself isn't exactly easy.
No.
But once we find, those keys that bring you joy to remember, because really that's it, isn't it, in our lives? It's joy to remember sometimes, the good things.
It has been an absolute joy to, in effect, remember those moments and immortalise them in some way or talk about them in a different way, and to give to Mum the fact that I recognise and value her creativity through the years and the impact that it's had on me. Actually, the very first artwork I ever sold was still inspired by Mum and community. So Mum had all these leftover beads from all the things that she had made. And I was working, there was a little shop in town called Fascinations, and I was working weekends there. And Easter was coming up. My sister and my brother had shown me how to blow eggs. And so I blew eggs and I beaded them with my mum's beads. I'd finally got glasses. I could see to do it.
Do you say, see my Fabergé eggs?
And those eggs were sold over the world. And they were the first thing I ever sold. But also when the community found out about it, I'd come home from school and I'd find a little box of beads left by the community. I wouldn't even know who had left them on our veranda.
How wonderful.
And so that idea of community, mum as inspiration, creating something new out of it, that's bedrock in my creativity all my life.
Should be bedrock in everybody's world, I think.
No wonder she enjoys scrambled eggs.
So yeah,
well, you've got to do something with them after you've done that.
It's a joy. It's a joy. So yeah,
Marjorie, with you, what would you say has been probably the thing that's most important to you in life, apart from having your children?
The most important thing to me, as far as I'm concerned, is to live in present time. I say it to everybody these days, you can't be yesterday. You've been there, you've done that. You live in present time.
Yesterday's history.
Yes, but
tomorrow's a mystery, and all we have is today, I think is.
But tomorrow, yes, and tomorrow you can plan for, but it's no point in wasting today on tomorrow, because it may not happen.
True.
So I think I'm a very present time person.
Absolutely, yeah.
And
whilst tomorrow will happen, what you plan to do tomorrow may not happen.
That's right. Yeah. Yes, that's exactly right. And it'll be today. And I tell people all the time, just enjoy the moment you're in.
And say yes.
And it's the only moment you've got.
Do you know, that's so true. I've said it on this program so many times with people, just talking to them. The best advice you can give anyone is say yes.
Say yes, absolutely.
Learn to say yes.
And no isn't in my vocabulary.
No. Oh, we just said it.
But the other thing that Mum was really good at, and I think it's a skill we need more and more, frankly, is she would find out ways to bring people together in terms of a common goal. So for Karklu, for instance, you had the historical people society that wanted to save the building. You had Don Dunstan, who owned the building. You had the community who wanted a place, a home for the
children with the arts.
You had, you had different people, and you had to find a way to motivate them and bring them all in.
But you've done the same with the fabrics and what you're doing with that. But look, we've got to take another short break.
Sure.
And we'll be back in a moment for more of these two amazing women. Last time on Our Time, and this time on Our Time, we've been talking with Marjorie and Catherine Fitzgerald. It's been just amazing speaking to you both, because you're such inspiration to everybody.
Oh, thank you.
But to finish the inspiration and this program, just take a look at this and please explain.
So the stories that have been shared with me over the last 3 years, well, we started with 30 stories and we now have 300.
And so these were the first 4 that last...
No, this is just 4 that look good together.
Oh, okay. You're being an artist, okay.
I'm being an artist.
Okay.
No, but really
so here's the next.
So really what I wanted to show was there are, I don't know, 35 different nationalities, male, female, non-binary, deaf stories, English as a second language stories. There are stories of making, stories of family, stories of culture. And of these images, as you see them scroll through, not one is repeated. So it just gives you an idea of the scope of the stories that we have been, that we've been exploring together as a community. And it's
humans.
It's a measure of our creative community. Yeah. And it shows the diversity of our creative community.
What's interesting, First Nation have lived through their stories. It's something that we sort of have forgotten, how to use what we have as memories with stories.
Yes. Well, we
all come from different countries.
There are First Nation stories as well. And, they were makers and have a history of making for a long, long time.
Yes.
And of course, if you go back to mythology, this is the thing, the language of of fabric is interwoven throughout we talk about the fabric of society, we talk about the tapestry of life.
And we do.
And in mythology, across the world, in every different culture, you'll see that the weavers were, they wove all life, all death. They wove the universe. They could cut a thread and end a life or save a life. And it's a really important thing.
Yeah, it's really amazing when we do that. Look, it's been just so lovely talking to you both, getting to know you a little better on TV.
Thank you.
And speaking of TV, if you've missed any of our programs, you can always catch up on CTV Plus. It's the new platform. You'll see programs from all over Australia on that. And also, for our time, if you've missed any of the programs over the last 15 years, many of them are on our YouTube channel, and the addresses are right there so you can remember. So until next time on Our Time, we hope to see you again next time. Keep yourself nice till then. Thank you so much.